Great. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our June roundtable. This one is on the Tulsa Global District, which is super exciting. So we have our amazing speaker Alejandro Garcia here, and he's coming at us from, I guess you're in South Oklahoma right now, straight from a Starbucks because he's on tour right now, learning from other Main Street leaders and collaborating with Oklahoma Main Street. So we're really happy that he was still able to join us. I'm going to move on from this beautiful graphic Caroline made um, to thank our sponsors. Everyone has seen this slide before, but it's exciting. We have some corporate members now of our Main Street program who are committed to supporting us throughout the year. You'll see them again at our Main Street conference in October. So shout out to those folks for helping to make these happen. Um, And you've also, I'm sure, seen this slide before, hopefully. Um, we're trying to do these roundtables rooted in each of the 4 points. So some have been on design, some have been on organization, economic vitality, promotion. I think this one is kind of everything since Alejandro comes from a local Main Street group. So he's really leveraging all 4 of these important aspects of Main Streets to really make his district shine. So that's cool. Next slide. All right. Welcome to our featured guest, Alejandro Garcia. I want to give a little context first, because you might be thinking, Tulsa, that's kind of random for Rhode Island. But I actually got to know Alejandro through the Main Street Now conference, and I had the opportunity to do a mobile workshop in the Tulsa Global District. And I'll be honest, I was a little surprised when we showed up. We like pulled off the highway into a parking lot. And I was like, oh, this is where we're doing the tour. It does not look like your traditional, like, cobblestone, little quaint Main Street district that often coordinating groups like to flaunt to visitors. It's not super walkable and there's a fast highway going through, and again, these big parking lots. So I was very curious and kind of excited to see what would happen. And some of it included Alejandro's team literally blocking off the highway traffic with their bodies while we like crossed a major highway to get to another part of the district. So it was definitely a unique tour. And it actually totally changed the way I'd been conceptualizing Main Streets and what the future of this effort might look like. The Tulsa Global District has such a rich heritage and invested community and these unique and successful businesses, and now a thriving local Main Street organization. And to me, it feels so emblematic of why we care about Main Streets, even if it doesn't look like a traditional Main Street. And I wanted to bring Alejandro to Rhode Island because, we have downtown Providence, Wickford Village, whatever, but we also have a lot of places that look a lot like the Tulsa Global District. And these places exist in our state and across the country. And it's becoming a bigger conversation of what do we do with places like this? How do we meet the community where they are? And make these places shine like our quaint traditional Main Streets might. So I thought he would be the perfect person to give us some perspective. A little about Alejandro. He's the executive director of the Tulsa Global District, which is a local Main Street organization in East Tulsa. He's originally from Puebla, Mexico, and he joined the organization as a small business specialist before moving into the ED role. He holds an MBA from Oklahoma State University, and he spent his career coaching small businesses on branding and growth. So he is super knowledgeable and the perfect person to be stepping into the role of revitalizing a vibrant and exciting Main Street district. And I think without further ado, I'll let him take things from here. So I'm going to stop sharing and yeah, pass it to you, Alejandro. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me. And also, I want to add another sponsor to your list. Like, thanks to Starbucks for letting. And I apologize for the music and the sound that probably you'll be hearing because, of course, it seems that right now it's the rush hour here. So I apologize for that. But let me just share my screen.
Can everyone hear Alejandro okay? I know it's tough with some of the background noise. All
And
right. Okay.
I tried to mute, but it seems that there's speakers under every single table of this one. So if you all can hear me, I'll just start.
Sounds good.
So we can get to the juicy part. Well, yes, like Evelyn said, I am Alejandro Garcia. I am from the Tulsa Global District. I just started in the role like 1 year ago, but I've been in the organization 3 years already. So it's nice to see how the project is evolving and how the global district has been growing since. So I'm going to start with a lot of pictures, so you can see what I am seeing in my head almost every day. So as Evelyn said, like probably if you hear about Main Street or if you think about Main Street in general, this is what comes to your head, like the typical Main Street with the brick and mortar and the old building and preservation, and that's what it comes to Main Street. And of course it makes sense because of course part of what Main Street does is preservation, like all the beautiful buildings in Main Street in the country. So this it's understandable that you think about Main Street with this in your head, but and we all know this about this. Evelyn just showed it. Like we have our fantastic 4 points, and we know that they work. We know that the system works. It's like our Bible as Main Streeters. So the thing that we have to do. But what if your Main Street isn't a Main Street at all? Like you do not have the historic storefronts. You do not have any walkable downtown. There's like no place to literally walk. And like literally, there's not a traditional corridor where you can go with your family. So of course, a lot of Main Street people, and you know that we Hispanics do a lot of telenovela, and this is what you would think, or what any Main Street people think, like, what the heck? What are we going to do if we do not have all that to have a Main Street? Because those are like the bases. So what we did in the global district is all this fantastic strategy. But first, I want to give you like the basics of the global district so you can understand like where all this happened. The global district started in 2020. We are located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, East Tulsa, basically. The program started back in 2020, right in the middle of COVID. East Tulsa is one of the most multicultural parts of the city. Just the district itself has 200 small businesses in 1 square mile. So that tells you that it's a very entrepreneurial area. We have more than 25 countries represented. 21 of them are from Latin America, and we have a very strong AAPI community. And we have like people from Vietnam, the Hmong community, it's a very strong one, Filipino, China, Japan. Now we're getting more communities from Afghanistan. So it's a very, very diverse community. It's a very, very, very highly daily economic activity. We have like 44,000 cars passing through the 21st and Garnett it's the heart of the global district. So we have a lot of traffic also. But normally 40% of it belongs to the Hispanic community. And 4% of that belongs to the API community. In Tulsa, those percentages in the general city population, that is the 30% to the Hispanic community and 2% for the API community. So as you can tell, the concentration of these communities is really strong in the global district. But historically, the Tulsa Global District or the East Tulsa in general area, I mean, we are economically active. We have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of multicultural stuff going on, but the city or the budget of the city do not reflect that activity that we have. Like, of course, there's a lot of businesses that are paying taxes, but the investment of the city is not the same as you could think of. So we have limited infrastructure. Like there's improvement that we started to have, but normally that didn't happen before. And what it made us to start working on that is like, well, there's a lot of money moving here, so we need to start working on the properties itself. So these are the boundaries of the global district. As you can see, they have a very weird shape. This is how it looks like in the reality. I mean, Evelyn was there at Plaza 21 at Am High. So this is what the area had, like very big strip malls, not a lot of walkable spaces, not very friendly with bikers or with people walking. Of course, we do have sidewalks, but it's not it's not an area where you would like to go to walk. All this area in Tulsa, it started growing in the 80s. Normally, these properties started being built in the 80s, in the 90s. So there are big parking lots, malls, and now we have a lot of Hispanic stores, the AAPI stores. So that is how the global district looked like. So as you can see, it doesn't look like the regular Main Street. So with all of this happening, and with this of 200 small businesses being at the global district, the entrepreneurs are our economic anchors. We have a lot of restaurants. The global district is one of the most, the area I would say that with most authentic restaurants that you could find in Tulsa. We have a lot of shops. We have cultural services. They generate a lot of jobs. Uh, the amount of money that moves this area is way much better, I would say, than other parts of Tulsa. And of course, the identity that this area it's building is unique because we have people from everywhere. And all this blending of communities, it's reflected in the businesses that they do every single day. So what we wanted to do is like we wanted to support the development of this area. So we have one very great sponsor, the George Kaiser Family Foundation, one of the biggest funders and sponsors in all Oklahoma. They throw millions of dollars every year. So one of their initiatives, it's working on East Tulsa with elevating it. So we started developing a project for the global district where we could start working with what we have. Like we do not have a lot of public spaces. We do not have a lot of public areas or parks where we could work. There's a lot of private property, in-state owners, a lot of out-of-state owners. So we needed to start working with them to make this happen. So we started talking with the community, with the neighbors, with the business owners, so we could start thinking in a project that could unify all of these properties. And we came with this plan. This is not all the global district, but it's part of it. It's the corner that it's in the 21st and Arnett area. So we have like 3 big malls there. So what we identified is that we could connect them all by building a commercial corridor, starting in Plaza Santa Cecilia on your left. That is one of the Hispanic biggest malls in the city, and it's like the heart of the global district. And then walking to Nampi, that is our AAPI market. So what we wanted to do is like to build something that could connect all of those properties and make it walkable with all of this happening. So we started with concept designs, with concepts literally. Like we started working with a firm that started building on this kind of like mock-ups and projects of creating areas where we could use the parking lot, and we could use the connecting areas between the properties, so we could build this and make it walkable and more friendly for the community. This was one of the concepts that they built. This was one another. So what we wanted to do is like, okay, we could use these properties and build maybe some areas for like a stage, so we can have live music, or we could have something for kids because there's a lot of schools around here, or maybe a place where people could just go and gather. And also Plaza Santa Cecilia, it's one of the first international destinations in Tulsa because we have buses coming back and forth from Mexico every single day. So we have a kind of a terminal, like an international terminal at the global district. And that's why it looks like this, because we wanted like, oh, well, these people arrive to Tulsa sometimes after 24 hours of traveling, did it, and they arrive here at 2 or 3 in the morning, and there's nothing to do, or there's no place to sit while they are waiting for their family to go and pick them up. So those kind of things started to showing up while we were developing this project. And it helped us to start defining what we could build in the properties that we have there. So this was another concept. And all this started like 2 years ago. Like this project has been evolving. we started presenting this to the small business owners. Of course, they were in. And some of them are a little more complicated than others and asking for certain things in specific, but all of them were involved in it. So we started with this project 2 years ago, and then it's been a challenge, not because they're not willing to work, it's just because things happen, budgets, the city. So it's been a 2 years and a half process, but we are still working on that. And then we do have what we do also is a lot of connections with the community, because of course we do have all these ideas and we have all these projects, but if we do not bond with our community, uh, that's that doesn't work. I mean, I need to work with the trust and work with all of these people to feel them that they are part of the district and they need to be involved. So what we do, for example, in the picture, what you see, it's a walking audit that we did in this January, because we were looking for more projects to add to this project, or to be part also of this project to make it walkable. So with this walking audit, we discover another area that it was not included in this first project, where we could include Namhai and build an arch, because people were passing through that area. We discovered that 300 people were passing that area every single day. So not until this walking audit happened, we noticed that. So having this little thing happening at the global district very often to see like, okay, we could do this, we could do this, we could add this to the general idea of what we're trying to do. That helped us a lot. And that helped us also to build relationships and this cultural understanding that we need from the diversity of the area. These are a couple of entrepreneurs that are working also with the project. And that led us to some other artistic placemaking projects. Like, for example, this Dragon Trail. One of the projects, it was like, okay, we need to start making these people go out and use their bike and walk through the district, so we can start telling them about this corridor is happening, but also other things need to start happening before, so people can get involved before. So we did the Dragon Trail. It was a creative project with bike racks and the APA community. We had the mayor committed to several things, like this one, where he unveiled the mural that we had in the very first presentation that Evelyn showed. We did that with the Dragon Trail, so we were tangling different projects of beautification and placemaking at the same time, and getting the mayor and the councilors involved. So that helps us a lot, bringing the community to. This is one of the most recent projects that we're using the public areas, like the traffic control boxes, bless you, wrapping them, but we're using music too. We invited some artists here in Tulsa, like, oh, or you have a song or something already on YouTube or Spotify or something, send us your song, because we were the launch of this project. So we got 102 songs from this application, and what we did is like we selected 6 of them. We gave them to 6 local artists here in Tulsa, so they can listen to that song, and they will do a graphic or the art for the traffic control box that it's going to be. So they were using the music, and then what we are going to do is like put a QR code in that traffic control boxes that it will have the song that inspired that graphic. So when you walk through there and you see the graphic and you scan the code, you will listen to the song that inspired that graphic. So that originally wasn't in this corridor project that I showed you first, but these little projects that start emerging in the process of this are being added to that general idea and that general project that is on the way. We started with a facade improvement program that we started giving the small business owners in the global district $10,000 so they can have improvements in the front areas of their businesses, or if they need signs, or if they need any like stickers or something that they want to put in their windows, we will be paying for that. And this is one of the most recent projects or items that is part of this general project, the gateway markers of the global district. So these are 4 gateways that we are going to install in the 4 points of the global district, each one of them inspired by the API and Hispanic elements. And this is one of the projects that is also underway. All of this is AI, by the way. I mean, I have the mock-ups, but this is the AI version of them. So this is one of the biggest projects that we're visioning for this corridor to have this landmark at the entrance of the Global District. And this is the corridor that we discovered with the walking audit that we did in January. So all this area was totally dirty and filled with rubble, and it has a fence. So the first step was defining that 300 people packed to using that area. So what we did first is cleaning. We clean the whole thing. We take the rubble, we cut the fence, we fix the whole thing. And this is the second step. Like we're gonna build this arch to like make it purposely to people walk to that area. So all of these projects have been coming out as part of this gigantic project that we started 2 years ago. And even though they're not happening all at the same time, because of course we need an insanely amount of money, each one of them are happening little by little to make it happen, like in a general idea. Another project that we have is that we also support to the community with digital marketing to provide digital visibility by paying for their ads and creating advertising campaigns for them for 3 months to the business participant in this. So also we are creating a digital district, or we're improving a digital district at the same time that we're doing these improvements in the physical aspect of it. We're having this digital campaign too that we call Eating East, that we're inviting to the rest of Tulsa to come to enjoy all the diversity of the food that we have at the Global District. So this is something that we started as an ad campaign, and now it's getting stronger and stronger, that we're just getting more people coming to East Tulsa just to have some food. We have cultural events at the night, like the night market that happened 2 weeks ago, where we had 4,000 people in the whole Global District celebrating the Asian American Heritage Month in May. Like this one, like this was like we had 4,000 attendees. We had 2 stages. We have over 18 group performing. This was the first number, but the final number we have 53 booths and 6 food trucks. So all of these cultural events are helping to all this effort. And the next one is going to be La Fiesta de Tulsa that also we had last year, where we had a parade. We have the El Grito festivity. It's a really gigantic party, and the Oklahoma consulate, the Mexican consulate in Oklahoma comes also to give the El Grito festivity. So all these different aspects of this main project of the revitalization of the corridor, it's tangled to all of these other cultural assets and projects that we have. So what we're saying is that we're building a main street, like literally where there was none ever before. By doing it with the people, we do not have any historical building, or at least they won't be historical until 20 years from now. So in the meantime, we're building this district with the community. So that's all that I have for you guys. I think this is more like a talking with you and checking if you have any questions or anything. But if you have any questions or particular thing or comment, like that's my email also, if you wanna, or if Evelyn wants to share it with you later after this, you can send me any question or any project or doubt or anything that we do not have time to deal with it today, but I'm very happy to help at any level.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alejandro. Um, yeah, I'll definitely share out your email with folks because there's already a lot of questions coming in. So I think this will be a robust and exciting conversation. Um, Going to the chat, there's a question from Jessica. She says she's really intrigued by the digital marketing support you're providing. Could you speak to that program a little more and maybe talk about the kind of budget you'd need to do that?
Yes. Well, I started with them 2 years ago when talking with all of them. You see that most of them are Hispanic businesses, like first or second generation businesses. So the digital literacy that we have in the Hispanic community it's a thing. So when I started checking, and I was like, what is your social media looking like? Well, and they were like, well, my cousin does it for me, or I have a nephew, or I have a girl that helps me. But I was like, okay, that's not enough. So I discovered that there were different levels of literacy in the digital world at the global district. So first I started with the ones that were more advanced. So I was like, okay, we're gonna pay for your ads. We're gonna create an advertising campaign for your small business for 3 months. So we're gonna do all your graphics, all your campaigns. We're creating a CTA strategy so we can advertise it, and I can get statistics because, of course, the goal of this is that you as small businesses have sales. So I need to track that. So I need to have your sales at the beginning of the program, and then I will check out your sales after that. And also, I need to check how the campaign is working by clicks. So, all, as you may know, like all of us and the Hispanic community are very close to using WhatsApp. So Facebook lets you to go like this, and you could create a TTA where you put an ad and you click on it, and you can go to the WhatsApp and start texting directly. So what I wanted to do is something like that. So each one of these business were selected. We started with five. We created the CTA strategy, taking them to their DoorDash or to their WhatsApp or connecting their business with something that they already have and track it during those 3 months. In the very first month, the five businesses increased their sales between 30 and 80%. So we did that for 3 months and we finished. And also at the beginning, we signed an agreement where they were going to give us their sales before and after. So I can also track that percentage and that difference. And I also had data from the clicks that I was getting from those campaigns because I was creating those campaigns for them. So I had all these numbers, so I can tell like this is working. And so we started with as a pilot program, and then we turned it into something that we're doing every year now. And each cohort had 5 or 6 businesses working, and we spent probably like 1,500 in each of them. So I spent like $10,000 probably for 5 or 6 businesses for 3 months, and we track it, and all of them increased their sales in those percentages. So now the last thing that I'm trying to check with this one is like, of course, it finishes, and all of them say like, well, it finished, but I would like to keep on working, and how because they see the difference. So a lot of people were saying like, why don't you teach them to use social media? And I was like, that's not the issue. Like you could go easily on YouTube and see any video that will teach you to do that. Like, that's not the point. The point is that these people are business owners that open the door, close the door, do the kitchen, swipe, mop, do their QuickBooks. Like they already have a lot going on. And if you're adding marketing to that, no, they need let them be worried to create the best taco ever or creating the best quesadilla ever. We can do that for you. Like you do not go to the dentist. I mean, sorry, you go to the dentist so you can get your teeth fixed, but you do not go to the dentist so he can teach you how to fix your own teeth, right? So this is basically the same thing that we're trying to do this because we're not turning these people into marketing experts because that's not the point. The point is like we can help you to increase your sales, and for this little amount of moment, it works. But we're giving you traction, like you're getting contacts because at the end of them, most of them get with 150 or 200 contacts that they already have on their WhatsApp that they can contact later, and they can keep as customers. And also, it opened it to potential business because they were like, "What if we pay to the global district so you can keep on doing this for us?" And we were sort of like, well, that could be a thing. Like it could be like a membership where you give some money to the global district, and we could keep on doing this work for you. But as nonprofit, it's kind of tricky, and we've been talking with the accountants, and it's like they were like, okay, you could do it, but it's kind of tricky because technically you're making profit and you're a nonprofit, so you could lose that designation. So we do not want that. So I'm still like checking how we can fix that last part of the program. But now it's a thing. We have $10,000 per cohort. GKF has helped us funding that, and now Partner Tulsa, that is the economic development entity that we have in Tulsa, that is part of the city. It's giving us extra money for that. So the pot that I have for that program is getting bigger, so I'm able to help more businesses. So I don't know if that works.
Yeah. Did I answer your question, Jessica? Yeah. Yeah, it's really
Thank
it's
you.
cool to hear about, especially because I think I feel like social media so often gets trivialized, like, oh, it's like silly or for a younger generation or whatever. But the amount of time it takes to promote yourself as a local business is massive, I imagine. And you're right, people don't have time to do that because they're running a business. So it's really cool that you guys are able to offer that. Switching gears, we have a question from Jillian. Of course, we're going to talk about parking because it's one of our favorite topics here. Imagining that you're creating all these public spaces, you're probably getting rid of some parking spots. How do people feel about that? Is there pushback? How do you convince people that these matter more than being able to pull up right in front of the business?
Well, it hasn't happened that bad yet because, of course, the city of Tulsa requires these businesses to have certain amount of parking area that you cannot touch. So they are required to have certain amount of parking. So we cannot touch that, and we cannot mess around with that. So what we do is like we do that like eventually for specific events and just for a specific amount of time, so they do not have any trouble or issues with parking. Uh, but also because of the city of Tulsa asked them not to, so we're careful with that.
Good to know. Any follow-up, Jillian? No. All right. I'm moving right along. I'd love to hear more about your organization. Like, I know you're small from my understanding, so but you do have like a really robust and seemingly very engaged board. So can you tell us a little more about the structure of Tulsa Global District?
Yep. Well, it's very easy because the only one in the payroll is me. So that's it. It's just me in the payroll. I have, of course, a board. It's a very young board. I would say that probably the average age of them would be like 31, 32. Like it's a very young board. I mean, I'm 43 and I'm probably one of the oldest, and I'm not in the board technically.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's 13 members. I think there's 13 or 10 or something, but normally the board is like 15 people. And before we weren't, I mean, the Main Street asked you to have committees, but at the beginning we didn't have them. We just recently created some of them, and honestly, I wanted to try like, okay, let's see how it works, because when we have committees, of course, we are all in the understanding that all of these people are volunteers, that you all have your jobs, your 9 to 5, you have your family, so we can only depend on your free time.
Mhm.
And I learned to deal with that, the good and the bad way. So I know that even though I have these volunteers, I know that my timing is like, you can volunteer, but I need this in this time, not when you are able to do it. So
Mm,
I'm very clear with that, like, because I understand maybe the only time that I can have you is like 1 hour every month in the and just virtual because you are busy. So I'm gonna take advantage of that hour, and that's it. I know that you're committed and you show your commitment with that hour because it's the only free time that you have, and I have to learn to work with that with every single one of my volunteers. So that's what I do. Like it's just basically me, and I'm working right now on getting the second on board. I am writing right now all the certain things that I have to fix from my strategic plan, but I'm working on the job description of my number two.
well, congratulations on doubling your capacity in
I
terms of
know,
employees.
100%.
That's pretty exciting, especially because you guys are already doing so much. I can't even imagine what you'll do when you have a little more time from someone. Um, Another question from Adam. Are there any plans for adaptive reuse or new residential development to target a mixed-use neighborhood within the district?
Yes. In fact, the property, I don't remember, Evelyn, if you went to the property where we have our offices, the
Yes, we did.
okay, that property, those are 1,200 acres that George Kaiser Family Foundation bought. Because of course, well, right now we are using it, but the goal for that property is that they're gonna tear it down. And I don't remember if I mentioned that when you were
Mm-mm.
at the tour, but they bought it because they're gonna tear it down and they're gonna build another project, a gigantic project that involves affordable housing, a mixed usage of little event center, and some shops. Like it's gonna be a gigantic complex. So yes, some of those projects are happening.
That's cool. That leads into Caroline's question, because I imagine if you get more residential units in the area, people will want to be able to walk to Nam Hai and get some delicious pho or whatever. So can you talk more about the pedestrian walkway that you're envisioning and maybe how that plays into these new developments?
Yes, I have conversations with TSET, with of course the city of Tulsa, with the counselors, because some of we all want to make it the area more walkable.
Mhm.
But also it depends on certain things of the city of Tulsa because the first thing that we thought is like, okay, maybe we need bumps or we need something so we can
Mm.
make people like drive safely because that's, I mean, you saw it. People drive really fast in that area.
Yeah.
So we thought
Yeah.
about that. But then the city of Tulsa were like, yes, but no, because of the area and blah, 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 blah. So it was like, okay, we all need to figure out how to fix this. Because then the bike club said, like, no, the cases said that if you only start improvement, like the pedestrian traffic, people start driving safely or even more safely. So what we started, and there's a lot of schools in that area. So what we're starting to do is like we started with the Dragon Trail, like this little project. Okay, like let's gonna start doing this more walkable on purpose, like installing this. We're gonna install this arch at Namhai that it's on purpose to make the area walkable. We clean all that area so people start walking there because it was like a lot of rubble and the fence, and still the people were passing. Incog installed a person counter and they discovered that we had 300 people walking or passing through that area every single day. And it had rubble and stuff and dirt. So after we did it, that increased. So we saw that there's a need of having people walking through. We are working with the property owners to improve the lighting because at night it's a thing. So bringing more light to the private property it helps also. And we're working also in another project of that is called Verde is Beautiful. That we're going to start working on the green areas of all the small businesses, like started with planterns and little art installations, so we can start making like more walkable on purpose. So we're using art and placemaking to start working on that.
Can I ask you, Alejandro, can you
Yeah.
go back to that can you screen share again and go back to one of those maps that had you had written over of your plan? And can we just look at it a little bit together? Because it was really fascinating and I feel like there's more to tease out of that.
Yeah. Is it this one or this one?
Yeah, no, go back. Just you
This
were the
one?
first thing. Yeah, this one. So I feel like when I attended a presentation on the Global District, that you were somebody was showing, I think this was like the design group from Cincinnati or whoever that was that got,
Oh,
right?
an
That
actress, I guess.
I don't know. But I think a couple of the things that I remember, and I don't know if this is true, that like thinking about the Tulsa heat, that there was thoughts of making it a covered walkway. Is that
Yeah.
is that still, that's kind of, I mean, I know we're talking like long term.
Yeah.
Um, and then
No, but yeah, you go.
I thought there was like also just trying to create density of experience. Was there something about shipping containers and micro businesses?
Yes, I mean that area. It's not here, but it's here. It's like a little aisle that we have, and we wanted to do that coverage and maybe put some tables and chairs and shades and stuff because the area allows it. And it's still, I mean, we're still working on that. I think that the the thing that it's becoming, I think, it's the fact that the property owner of that property is like, well, I'm not convinced because if we install that, I'm gonna have this and this and this, and how much it's gonna cost. So it's
Yeah.
more of that. But no,
Yeah.
it's something that we want to do, and and all the neighbors are on it for that.
And I'm sure that all of this stuff, it's always going to be moving target. It's always going to be shifting and changing depending on a number of variables. But I did think you've pointed out some really interesting things here. And I think that whether or not they happen or not, some of our Rhode Islanders be interested in knowing some of the experiments that you had and some of the ways that you were thinking of. Like, I know that one experiment was at a certain point you painted in brilliant colors temporarily one of these parking lots and
Yeah.
then activated it with like food trucks and performances just to kind of show, the audiences, I mean, your community, what this can and could be. And it was just like one of those baby steps that could, push you a little bit further. And I think it's whatever your experiments are. I mean, it's working. I'm so shocked that you're the only staff person. I thought you were a team of 10.
No, it's just me. I know, and I wish I could have a 10-person salary, but no, it's just me. But yeah, no, what you're saying is like we've been having these little shifts. But for example, I have no pictures of it. But when you came in April in this area of Plaza Santa Cecilia, they were building like a little area for food trucks, like a little small plaza, and they were starting building it. But now it's finished, and in this area we have now like an island of food trucks, and there's a little stage, and they already started putting lanterns and stuff, so we can make it like something where people could go and gather in the summer. And also the area that we discovered at Namhide, it was not originally in the project in this one. And then when we discovered it, it's in here. So as you can tell in this first project, you cannot see it, but now it is. And we're working on this area that it wasn't in the original project. So all of these things that has been happening, it's just like, okay, we didn't thought about that, but we're adding it and it's happening already, even faster than the whole thing.
Yeah. I think this is just awesome. And I want to say to all of our Rhode Islanders here that I am half Tulsan. I grew up spending my summers in Tulsa. And when I heard about what's happening in the Global District, and like so much of Tulsa are these kind of strip malls, and saw this vision of what, how these strip malls could be transformed into something walkable. It's like it's going to take a long time, but there's a vision that's there that could be achieved. I was like, my God, if Tulsa can figure it out, we can figure it out here in Rhode Island. Like, no question. So kudos to all of you. I'll be quiet now. I know there's other questions in the chat.
No, that was it was fun to revisit that map, and hopefully Alejandro would feel comfortable with, sharing some of these pictures and stuff. We do like blog posts after, so, or Caroline does rather, and those are always a great place to revisit some of the resources and get further inspiration. So don't worry, this won't be like the last time you ever have a chance to see some of these cool images. Turning to another important topic, fundraising. Suzanne from the Downtown Providence Park Network is interested in the foundation you mentioned. Was that the George Kaiser Family Foundation?
Yeah, just guys.
Yeah. And are they like your primary funder? What percent of your budget comes from grants versus the city versus individuals? And what have your fundraising strategies been, if you feel comfortable sharing?
Yep. No. Yes. The George Kaiser Family Foundation is one of our primary funder. They have a strategy going on in East Tulsa that they call Elevating East. So it's like part of their mission. So we're lucky that the Global District and other nonprofits are part of this cohort that are being funded by them. And in this long-term strategy that they have, at least for the next coming 5 years, they're making this area a priority for their initiative. So we are lucky that, okay, we are going to have funds at least going on for the next 5 years. And then as Main Street designated program, of course, the city funds part of our, like give us part of money. It's not a lot, but it's something. And we're 4 districts in Tulsa. And recently, yesterday, they approved 2 more. So we're going to be 6 Main Street districts in Tulsa. And we were worried because we were like, oh my goodness, are they gonna take the same amount of money and split it now among 6?
Right.
So, but it seems that it's not gonna happen, that we're gonna get the same. But yeah, we got funds from the city, we got from GKF, from other private funders. The Oklahoma Arts Council also funds a lot of the arts initiatives that we do. The incentive program that the Main Street has, it's also one of the main funds where we could do all this placemaking. For example, all the gateway markers are being funded by the incentive program. So it's part of like diversifying. Also, we have a lot of sponsors for all of those 2 events, for example. And the La Fiesta de Tulsa has a $30,000 budget, and the night market has a $20,000 budget, and I get all that from private sponsors. So it's diversifying and getting like people from the corporate world too. So even though George Garzas Family Foundation is the primary funder, I try to diversify and bring more to the table.
Do you have a follow-up question, Scott? I see with your hand.
Well, yeah, I had a couple of quick questions, but are there others who are in the queue, so to speak?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I can revisit that.
A terrific, inspiring presentation, Alejandro. I'm the executive director of Grow Smart RI here in Providence. What's your annual? I had a couple of kind of nitty gritty questions. Which is my nature. What's your annual budget roughly? Or if you already said, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I didn't. I don't think I mentioned it. Last year, because I'm working on this year's and I haven't finished. But last year was like 230 something.
Okay, that's significant. And you mentioned you get support from the city. How closely do you work with them? How much are they always helpful? Are they sometimes a barrier? Can you describe a little bit about your overall relationship with the city?
Yes, I mean, we started with a new mayor last year. Mayor Nichols started last year. It's the first African American mayor in Tulsa. So, and also previously the GT Bynum mayor, he was very involved in East Tulsa. In fact, we get funds from him for the first incubator that it's been built and that I didn't mention in this presentation, but at Black Santa Cecilia, we're building the first immigrant incubator in Tulsa, in East Tulsa. So it's going to be part of this gigantic project. But the city has been really helpful now. Also, the deputy mayor, Crystal Reyes, he is the first Hispanic deputy mayor in Tulsa. So that makes it also very helpful for us. And the councilors, we have at the Global District, we have 2 councilors because the Highway 169, it's the division of the District 5 and 6. So they say that we're the only district with 2 councilors. Mm-hmm. So all the 2 of them are very supportive, Councilor Bengal and Councilor Gilbert. I work very closely with them. I tell them about these projects, and they also have their own projects that we try to work together. So they're very helpful with the funding or with approvals, or when I need something, like sometimes it's like, hey, Council Bengal, can you help me like pulling some strings with this? Or it helps that he's the chair of the council. And right. So we have a very good relationship with the.
Do you have any people from the city on your board?
Yeah, I have Paulina Baeza. She's her role is the planning. She's the lead of the planning offices.
Yeah.
It has a particular name because the planning office in Tulsa is divided in 2. So she's the one with the long-term planning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have her in the board.
Okay. And how did you, well, if there are other questions emerging,
no, go,
okay.
Scott.
how did you come to this? How did you land in this position? Is this
Oh,
something that was this like your idea? Are you from this district?
no. Also, I forgot to mention that we have the destination district position at the city of Tulsa. So we have one person that is helping all the districts.
Okay.
So that's another thing
Oh,
that
that's
helps.
good.
But how I came to that, well, I am, as you can tell by my strong accent, I'm originally from Mexico, and I've never been in the nonprofit world ever. So I came to the country 5 years ago. I just did my master's, and then my plan was just to come and go back because I had my business. I had my business for 15 years. I had a marketing agency with 20 employees, two
Huh.
offices in two different cities. I handled national advertising campaigns. I won a couple of international advertising awards.
Huh.
Last year, the American Marketing Association made me the Marketing of the Year in the region
Whoa.
area and the nonprofit sector.
Couple of modest accomplishments.
Yeah, just a little.
So coming to the nonprofit world, it was a shock at the beginning, honestly, because of course for me it's like money, time, efficiency, numbers, results. So you have that also in the nonprofit, but it's a different pace and different partners that has to be
But
involved.
what made you take the leap?
Well, I was a small business specialist. I started, that was my first position when they hired me. And what I understood that I had to do when they hired me at the beginning is like, okay, as far as I understand, I have to go with these small business owners and check what they need and help them to thrive. But that didn't happen at the beginning because they didn't have any programs built. I mean, the previous ED, I love her. She's my friend, and we became personal friends. But she also was number one on the payroll, and she didn't have all this corporate experience. So I was like, let me help you with this. I know how to run a company, so I certainly know how to help these people to start their business. So I started with that, and then we started building these programs and engaging with the community. And then on December 2024, the ED comes and tells me, "Hey, I'm quitting." So I was like shocked, of course, because I was like, "Oh my goodness, who's gonna come? Like, who's gonna be my boss?" I mean, I already have enough time to see this nonprofit environment in Tulsa, that it's very small city and you know everyone, and it's like, oh my goodness, there's no one I would like to work with as my boss if someone else comes and gets the position. But I was not sure because I'm on a working visa, so I didn't know if I was allowed to apply for that position. So I had to ask with the attorney office that is checking my case. And they were like, no, yeah, you can apply for Luisa's job. So I was like, okay, I will apply. I applied for her job. We have, and this is because the board told me after, we have 33 applicants
Whoa.
for this position, and I made it to the last three. And of course, I got hired on April 2025, and that's how I became the ED.
Great. They're lucky.
Yeah, seriously.
Hopefully you feel lucky, but they're lucky. Yeah.
No, it gives some context to the like smaller digital marketing program you've started and
Yeah.
how people are getting like world class like
Yeah. Yeah.
support as opposed to just, whatever, someone.
I started with the global district, of course, because when I was a small business specialist and I started to go out with the businesses, they were like, "What's the global district?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, really? This thing has been going on for 2 years and nobody knows about the global district." And of course, I had to talk with her, like, "Hey, we need to talk. We need marketing, and the first thing that I need to do is like, this is going to make my job easier because if I go to this business and they already know what the global district is, I could do it faster and better." So I
Okay.
started this with the global district first.
Well, Alejandro, I have to say, not now everybody in Tulsa knows, and everybody as far as Providence, Rhode Island knows about the Tulsa Global District. You are killing it.
I still have a lot of because if you ask in Tulsa, there's still a lot of people that do not know about the global district. But com comparatively with when I started to now, it it's significantly different.
Mm. I mean, yeah, it's only been 2 years, so it's kind of incredible the strides you've made.
In a lot of our more urban Main Street districts, there's an issue of vacancies, and abandoned or underutilized buildings. Is that a significant factor in your area or not?
Well, the Oklahoma Main Street like to say that it is, but as in what I see, and Evelyn can say, like, you were there. Yes, like we do have several spaces, but it's not there. It's not a lot. I think it's like 4% or something like that.
Yeah.
And mainly the reason why they are like that, it's because the property owner don't want to fix it. And of course, if you go and rent it, you don't want to go and fix it. So it's because of that. Like, okay, it's probably someone from out of state that are not really care about the property. So they do not do anything to fix it. And they don't want to fix it to get a renter because that will cost money. And of course, nobody wants to rent it because it needs money. So that's the thing that we have. It's not that we have a lot of vacant spaces.
Yeah.
But there are a couple.
Be grateful for that.
All right, we're in the last 2 minutes here. Does anyone have any final questions before we wrap up?
Well, this is not a question, just an observation that, we are urban in a lot of respects, but Rhode Island has a whole lot of areas that were also built up during that same time, the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
They're very car centric, they're very strip mall-y. And so you've provided, I think, a lot of ideas that are really relevant to some of the issues and problems that we have. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, I think we'll end there since we're at the hour. Thank you so much, Alejandro. You've made some huge Tulsa Global District fans. And if anyone was considering going to Tulsa, now you have a really big reason to like eat your way through the Global District. Go hungry. There's so much good food, and so many cool little pocket businesses, and it's really like a cool place to explore. And I'm excited to go back in 10 years and, go through the giant arch and like sit under a canopy and get to see your vision realized. So we really appreciate you sharing your story today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys, and I hope that everything was helpful. And follow the Global District on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, Tulsa Global District, and so you can check out all the things that we're doing.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
and don't forget to mention that if anyone is interested in further discussing the idea of retrofitting suburban places, that the Power of Place Summit, Grow Smart Rhode Island signature event, will be happening on June 26th. And our keynote speaker is Galina Takieva, who is the author of the Sprawl Repair Manual. So, so this conversation really tees us up to hear a lot more about this from her. So,
yes, thank you, Jillian.
No, hopefully, I'm happy that it was helpful.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
one.
You too. Bye.
Woo.
Okay, I need to go grab the catering. I think they're in the wrong building and they've been calling me. So
Oh no.
yeah, I should probably edit this out of the recording at the end, but thanks. Bye.